Thank you for that intro. So my name is Anna Clark. I manage our CPG team at Reddit. And I've had the privilege of being in big tech my entire career. So I worked at Google, I've worked at Twitter and Pinterest. And I'm joined by my three lovely panelists that I will let each of them intro themselves. You want to start, Meghan, or
okay?
Start, Meghan. Yeah.
I'll start. Hi, everyone. I'm Meghan Shookman, the VP of Marketing for Purely Elizabeth. If you're not familiar, I hope you are, but we are the #1 granola brand, oatmeal, as well as cereal, and are working to change the food industry through nutritious superfoods like organic oats and flax seeds and chia seeds, etc.
We were all gushing earlier about how we're obsessed with it.
Which I love to hear because I do think it's everyone's best kept pantry secret.
Well, it's my favorite granola too, Meghan. Hi everyone, I'm Jason, the president of Paper, based in Miami, New York, and super excited to be here with you all in sunny Austin.
Hi everyone, Cyntia Leo. I'm the head of brand marketing and PR at Urban Outfitters. It's located across the street if everyone needs a little outfit afterwards or a little touch up, a jacket. I'm so excited to be here.
Great. So we are here to talk about community, and so I'll admit it's a topic very near and dear to my heart. Reddit is a platform that is literally built around communities. So I think it's appropriate to maybe start and have all of you just answer a little bit more about what community means for your brands, and more specifically, how are you fostering community, keeping in touch with it with your audience base?
Yeah, I can start. So community is really at the center of everything that Purely Elizabeth does. Brand building really is in service of your community. And Elizabeth herself, who's still our founder and CEO, started the brand to really help people thrive on their wellness journey because she was looking for gluten-free snacks that were good for you and taste good, and she couldn't find them. And so that's why she developed the brand. And so we're working on creating more of a holistic wellness lifestyle brand that has a point of view. And I really think that's how brands win today with our communities, is not by having a point of difference or a value proposition. It's about having a point of view on the world, and a point of view that's broader than just your category. Because if we only talk about granola, that's pretty limiting and pretty boring. And so we have a point of view more holistically around health, and that's what brings our community to us through our Purely podcast, through our Substack, etc.
Love that. I would say without community, there really would not be Paper. We're not a new brand. We've been around for over 40 years, and I think it's quite rare to have brands that have stayed over times for so long and be able to transform and really still resonates with today's communities. I joined the team last year, and one of the reasons I joined was because I felt so connected with the community that Paper built. I'm really proud that we're queer-owned, a diverse-owned media company, which is also quite unusual today, and I felt that resonance with it. But at the same time, we're also a mass market media brand, so I think where that media comes from and the communities that we built are really important. And right now, we've also shifted. We used to be print only, but communities now also are very digital and social first, so that really is a focus. But it's been amazing that we have those roots, because we did this cover drop that was first digital with Doechii, and we were her first ever major cover, but we did a limited edition print, and all the fans grabbed their hands on it, and you can't even get one anymore. So there's also the element of being able to bring back some of those formats that maybe doesn't even feel like it's a fit within this world of AI, but people actually sometimes like holding something that is actually physical and we know it's real.
That is very cool.
I agree. Love that. So for us, everything that we do is truly centered about our customer and therefore our community, right? And so we are obsessed with our community. We're obsessed with our customer. And in every decision we make, whether it's product, whether it's marketing, whether it's a partnership in our event, we're focused on how do we meet our community? How do we meet our customer? And how do we best serve them? And so we really think about our community and make sure that we're constantly connecting with them in all the right ways. And community shows up in a lot of ways. So sometimes it's digitally, sometimes it's social. But for us, the most important thing is how are we meeting our customer, our community exactly where they are? And sometimes those are in Reddit groups for us. Sometimes those are events. Sometimes those are partnerships with paper. But really thinking about what they need, what they want, and making sure in every decision, it's really focused and centered on our community and on our customer.
I feel like we talked a lot in our pre-talk ahead of time about the role of relationship building in community, and often, the foundation of community is the relationships that we've built. So I feel like you all have some really good stories about how you've used relationships to actually build business partnerships based off of the communities that you belong to. So would love if you could share a little more.
Yeah, I can start with this one. So for us, when we think about partnerships, we really think about how can two brands come together or two partners come together to really serve our customer. And sometimes that's a physical need. So, we've built a relationship with U-Haul for back to school, and we helped our customers move into college with that partnership. Other partnerships look like Canva. So we had this amazing partnership with Canva. We knew our customer was creating wish lists. So we were like, how do we get in there and partner with them? And ultimately, we want partnerships and relationships that are really true and authentic and amazing. And when you build off of that and you build to serve your customer, I think that's what makes it most impactful. And then building real relationships. So we have a funny story. Jason and I we met each other at almost 15 years ago?
Yeah, 16.
16, no one's counting.
When we were 5 years old, we met. Yeah.
We met when we were 5. We were both working at Disney. And so Jason and I just built this incredible relationship at 5 years old together. And it just, lent to this incredible partnership. And so when Jason went over to paper and I went over to Urban Outfitters, we knew that our two communities coming together can truly serve our community, our customers in a really amazing way. And so we're so excited. We've done a number of different pieces together. But really, at the root of it, we were like, how can our two brands come together to really do something that can excite both of our communities in a really fun and authentic way?
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think we're really proud of, this partnership just happened 3 weeks ago, but we were both thinking, Cynthia came to us at paper around we have 6 weeks and we need to have 5 talent for one of Urban Outfitters'
a quick brief.
biggest campaigns. We need a music headliner and 4 creators doing amazing things in sports and college and so on. And at that time, we were talking to none other than Zara Larsson, who's having such a big moment right now. She has the #1 global song on Spotify, to do a paper cover. So we shared that with Cynthia, and she loved that. And if you look at Zara's Instagram and also Urban Outfitters website, she's the newest star of Urban Outfitters campaign, and it really hit at the perfect moment. And I feel like timing is also important when it comes to community and relationships. But at that moment, if you guys were watching Olympics, Alyssa Liu used her song in Pink Pantheress, and that song went #1. We launched the Urban Outfitters campaign, and it did really well. And that started with just being friends at 5.
At 5.
So really note those relationships that you're making here. Might be a partnership in the making. Meghan, I also feel like you have some very cool partnerships that are coming up that built on relationship and community as well. So I'd love for you to talk about it.
Yeah. We just did a partnership with Cha-Cha Matcha. It's a line of matcha stores in New York and LA. And for us, it's all about creating those morning rituals so you can integrate health and wellness into everything that you do. And matcha mornings is something that Elizabeth herself loves, and we thought our fans would love as well. So we partnered with them to launch our new Purely Glow granola, which is inspired by beauty from within. And so the granola has collagen, biotin, coconut water in it. And so given the beauty from within ethos behind it, we thought what better way to launch this than during New York Fashion Week with Cha-Cha Matcha and have a beauty glow stop. And we brought in a couple of other brand friends, we like to call them. Tower 28 came into the Cha-Cha Matcha store and did a little glow up station for our fans. Bobby Brown has always been a fan of the brand, so she helped us to launch it as well. So that was a beautiful way for us to take all of these relationships that we've curated over several years and bring all the partners together to celebrate that beauty from within.
I hope you brought samples.
It sold out within a week, so we do not have any more. I wish I did.
Next time, we'll send you our address and then.
I want to shift gears a little bit to talk a little bit about cultural relevance, because I feel like in order to have really successful campaigns, you really need to know your audience, which means you need to stay on top of the trends and know what they're interested in. So I'm curious of how you guys approach market research and also how you're keeping on the pulse of what your community is really interested and engaged in.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, I mean, we are constantly in the field. For us, our model is like everything is centered with our customer. And if that is the case, we have to be customer obsessed. And so that comes across multiple different ways. And so we have a big panel of about 10,000 Urban Outfitters insiders that we're constantly speaking to. We are in field, talking to them, speaking to them. We also go on campus because we need to see what's happening in real life, real trends. And that's one of the things I'm going to do this weekend is like, I'm going to go to our UT and actually see what our customer is doing. But beyond that and beyond the market research, we really think about where like real culture happens, and that's on digital discourse. And so we are constantly in Reddit. We're in the comments. We're looking at what the discourse is happening because you can truly see in those comments, in Reddit, on like social commentary, what's happening before a platform can tell you what's happening. And so we're just customer obsessed. It's so important and it has to be consistent because this customer is evolving so quickly. Like today, TikTok's the thing. Tomorrow might not be the thing anymore. And we have to make sure that we're knowing what's happening. We're seeing the trends and we're very ready to react quickly.
I would say like that really feels similar to our approach in the sense that, well, with paper, we like to say we don't just report on culture, we create it. And in terms of creating it, it's really actually understanding what's happening now, what's happening tomorrow, but not really just analyzing the trends from the past. And I think there was a sense of thinking that things are moving so quickly, so we really want to understand a pulse of just trends today for Gen Z, like what are their consumption habits like? What is the format that they really even want to see from paper, given social media is changing? So we did a couple of focus groups around the US and around Gen Z and made sure that it was statistically significant. And we actually asked them just a lot of questions around how, like what social media platforms do they consume and how do they consume it? And even what are their thoughts on influencer marketing? There were some interesting insights that even came out of that. And we just got the results just about like 3 weeks ago. And I think there were some surprising findings, but because we did it ourselves and it was essentially a first party finding, we found it, I think, very valuable for us because that was direct feedback. And then also we're excited, this is part of our like paper agency offering that we can also do for brands, that we want to share this out also with our brand partners because that can influence how we create better campaigns like the one we did Zara Larson, or how do we do better things even with our cover drops that we do with our talent so they actually resonate more.
Yeah, I think for us, it's really organic. We're not doing a lot of traditional research. We don't have as much of a budget for focus groups or quantitative research. So it's honestly just being curious about what's happening in the world and observing pop culture, a lot of it on social media, understanding what our brand pillars are, what does holistic wellness mean to us. It's about fitness brands, it's about beauty brands, and just observing what are some clean beauty ingredients that our fan base is interested in. How can we partner and integrate that into our portfolio? What are the workouts that our fans are doing? How can we curate those types of experiences? Looking at even just our roster of creators, what are they interested in? When they come to visit us at Cha Cha Matcha, hey, what should we do next? So it's very organic for us. And I think curiosity is at the center of it, to Jason's point of creating what's next and creating culture rather than tapping into it or looking at it retroactively.
I feel like you all have touched upon how you're kind of like redefining how you're doing marketing. So I'd be curious if maybe you could double click a little bit more, and how do you see your role of, being a change maker redefining the modern day marketing playbook?
I can start. So again, as a challenger brand, we don't have the same budgets as our competitors. So we really need to outsmart rather than outspend our competition. And for us, any brand you look at, word of mouth is always the largest driver of marketing value and how people find out about new brands. And so for us, it's about proving that you truly can scale word of mouth by partnering with thousands of nano creators rather than a macro creator. And it's those real fans who are actual advocates for you. And that's what people are going to believe more so than something that's projected by the brand. So what we've really done is let our community create our campaigns. And that's exactly what we did for the Purely Glow campaign. We didn't create any advertising materials. We just partnered with creators and brand fans to tell our story. And we didn't put a lot of framing around what to say. We're just like, we'd love your perspective on this. Share with your community if you feel so inclined. And I think when you open it up in an organic and authentic way and really partner with people who truly value your brand, that's when it's going to really resonate with your community that much more than anything we would put out there.
Yeah, I agree. I love that point. And I think for us, we really love to play, and we've really recognized that there's been this incredible gap between attention and then connection. And we really thought about that this year as we were building our strategies. You can have a lot of reach, right? And you can go out there and you can buy big media buys and you can reach a lot of people. But if you're not resonating with your brands, or people are resonating with people and customers, then that reach, it's driving awareness, but it's not driving brand loyalty. It's not driving that brand connection. And so we really thought about that when we were thinking about our strategies and campaigns of like, how do we close that gap between just driving attention and really creating connection with our customers, our fans, and building that connection. And so for us, we really thought about shifting our playbook, and we were like, we don't want to do campaigns anymore that you just watch. We really want campaigns that people feel like they can join in, right? Be a part of our brand, join in, tell us your voice. And that was a bit of Add to Story, which Jason, you talked a little bit about, is that we wanted to make sure that we created a platform where our consumer could be part of the story and be part of our brand with us. And we think about that and those tactics and those strategies across the way. And so how are we creating campaigns that you can join in digitally, physically? We've also re-looked at brand trips for us. We were like, brand trips shouldn't just be about influencers anymore. Let's bring our most loyal customers out to be with us and let's celebrate them. And so we're so excited. And at the end of April, we're bringing over 200 customers on a brand trip to Joshua Tree to the desert to celebrate. And that's for us, it's like, yeah, let's move on beyond just campaigns you just watch to moments and campaigns that you can join in and be a part of with our brand.
So cool.
Love that. Can I join the trip, Cynthia?
Yes, you're welcome. You're invited.
Wasn't it a deliverable? Okay. I completely agree with what you both said. And I think for marketers, sometimes I think we think about, okay, we're going to put paid behind this and we're going to boost it and all those things. But we really can't forget about the organic as well. Because if it's something where the creative is amazing and it resonates with consumers, then yes, we can put some more oomph behind it. But it has to start with something just really amazing that comes from a place where consumers will actually love it and want to share it and want to consume it. Something else I think we found when it comes to what's working in terms of gaining more mind share with consumers, especially for us being a media brand, is that we've actually almost doubled the amount of events that we've done in the last 12 to 24 months. So it's actually quite rare that we would drop a cover story, whether it's like Madison Beer or Tate McRae, without doing an event with that celebrity in real life, maybe the same week. And we found that when we do that, the results for how many people view the campaign and are a part of it and the brands that are part of it actually does a lot better. And when everything can be digital today, in some ways, I feel like the last scarcity is being in the room, or even all of you being in this room, which is amazing that you can hear, hopefully some insights that we're saying, or this is gibberish, or versus seeing it from Instagram story, which I think just doesn't have the same effect. So when we do these events at Paper and people are in the room, I think that value or that CPM, is much higher than ever before.
Agreed.
All right, so I feel like I could not let you go without us talking about ROI and measurement, because we know at the end of the day, sales is always, what matters. But since we're talking about, but beyond the click, I'd be curious to hear, like, what are all of the factors that you guys are looking at when you're trying to measure success for some of these really cool campaigns? And how are you balancing short-term sales with, longer-term growth?
Yeah, I can start. I think it depends on what your objective is for your particular campaign. So I think, for example, for our Purely Glow drop, that was all about building buzz around our brand. So for us, the core metrics were earned media value because we weren't putting any paid behind it. So how much were we actually capturing from the content creators who were sharing and our fans who were just sharing? It was about shareability. Was the content that was out there something people were going to spread? Again, knowing that we were striving to create and generate and scale word of mouth. Were we actually delivering upon that? And then I think it's understanding we were trying to reach more of a Gen Z and millennial audience. Because surprisingly, Gen Z just isn't eating granola, and I'm trying to figure out why. And if anyone knows the answer here, let me know.
That.
So we're working on that, and the beauty of it was for that Purely Glow drop, 2/3 of our customers were Gen Z. So we're making headway in making granola cool for the next generation. So those are some of the things that we were looking at when buzz generation was really the key point that we were trying to drive home was earned media value, shareability, and were we actually reaching the audience that we were striving to reach?
Yeah, very similar for us as well. And so we obviously think about all the key metrics, awareness, unaided awareness, et cetera. But I think for us, we also really focus on depth of engagement. We want to know, are people participating? Are people joining in? Are people interacting with us? What does that engagement look like? Last year, we went out to about 10 different college campuses, and we were like, we want to go out and we want to be there with students and there with our community. And one of our key KPIs was like, let's see if this actually spread to other campuses that we didn't actually join. And what we found is that we had a ton of college students coming to us and saying, please come to our campus next year, right? We got letters written in. We had mailers sent out to us, and we just had so much. We had videos created, and we were like, that is depth of engagement. Not only is it bringing awareness and, and impressions and shareability right on campus, right at that moment, but is it spreading beyond the four doors? Is it spreading beyond the community? And are people asking us to come, right? And so we look at a number of different factors, but when I think about community, when I think about, yes, we want sales, we want impressions, we want all of that, but then are people asking us to join them? Are people asking us to invite in their community? Are they engaging with us? How deep is that depth? And those are the, it's hard sometimes to measure, but those are the most important measurements for us because then we know we are truly resonating. We are truly building that brand loyalty.
Right. No, I love that. And I think for us at Paper, we're both a brand and also a platform. So some of that measures of success, I think, is probably twofold on our partner side and also the talent side. On the partner side, it's really gaining the trust of the partners, and they want to come back and do more campaigns with us and brand partnerships. And then the second side is even on the talent side. A lot of our platforms really do integrate in from some of the biggest talent in the world to also some of the most emerging talent in the world. And I think it's always a good sign when, even 2 years ago, Beyonce's team reached out and said, for the Renaissance tour, Paper's the only outlet that we want to have the Renaissance cover on. And we're like, wow, we're relevant. Nice. And then similarly with Cardi B, where we did this amazing cover with her in October, we were her first cover story after her pregnancy reveal. So that was such an amazing story, and she felt like we were the only one that could creatively tell that story and not anyone else. And I think with that ecosystem of talent and brands, that I think that gives us signals that we're doing the right thing in culture.
Very cool. All of it is very cool. And what I also love is that all of you have very distinct, very different brands, and yet there's this really interesting tie of commonality in a lot of the answers that you said, even though you're reaching your communities in very different ways, but obviously all these opportunities where you collaborate with one another, which is great. So last question, I feel like since we're in Austin and this is a lovely city, I've had the pleasure of actually being to over a dozen South bys in my career. what's something that you are looking forward to doing, eating, seeing while you're here? We have someone that actually lives here also. Would love to see, though. You know, South by only happens one time a year. What are you guys looking forward to?
So I think one big thing, I love research. And so I'm going to spend a little bit of time at UT watching some customers, seeing what they're wearing, shopping. And then on a personal note, my sister's actually in the audience. Hi, sis. And so I get the pleasure while I'm here to spend some time with my family that is in Austin. So a little bit of both.
Lovely.
I mean, I love South by for just being this creative hub. It's brands, there's film, there's music. I'm going to this film tonight with one of the talent that I'm here in town with, Louis Tan, who's the lead of Mortal Kombat. He's premiering a film called Mike and Nick and Alice. So it's a mouthful, opposite Vince Vaughn. So very excited to support him and see him at that film. So.
Jason, I feel like we all need to live your life. I'm like, how many people do you meet every week?
I'm enjoying.
Well, I'm based here in Austin, but I love this week of South by Southwest because it's such an opportunity to to discover new things. So I don't have any one thing. I'm really just here to be a sponge and soak it all up because I'm always looking for how can we create new experiences because discoverability really is memorability. So as I think about what our future community events look like, I'm looking to other brands and what they're doing and what are memorable experiences that I can create as well. But if anyone needs any tips on the best tacos, best margs, I'm right here.
I have personally eaten migas every single day that I've been here. Well, thank you all. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll be over here. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.